Good morning. As we begin, we would like to acknowledge that this service is being held by a community that gathers on the stolen lands of the Massachusetts, Nipmuc, Pawtucket, and Wampanoag people. We pay respect to those Indigenous peoples who lost their lives in the colonization of this land, and recognize that these Indigenous tribes are still today facing violations of sovereignty, territory, and water. We also give thanks for the earth we walk upon, the waters, the life-giving plants, and all Earth's creatures, as well as the winds, sun, moon, and stars. We recognize that this is just a first step in moving toward right relationship with Native people and healing of the earth. Welcome to the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton, FPC to our members and friends, a welcoming and spiritual community. My name is Anne Sadler, not Sandler as printed in the brochure, no relation to Adam, and I serve on the nominating committee at First Parish and also as a lay minister. If this is your first time with us, we welcome you. Please let us know you're here by filling out one of our visitor information cards in the pews and hand it to an usher, drop it in the plate, or hand it to Meg, our welcoming staff member. We won't add you to any of our email lists unless you check that box to do so. Our minister and staff are listed on the front of the order of service. Please feel free to ask me or any of these people for more information on our church and its programs after the service, or by email or through the chat if you're online. We also invite you to check out our webpage for news and information, and you can also sign up there for our newsletter and email alerts. We ask that people remain masked in our sanctuary, except in the balcony and in church offices and RE spaces, but the rest of our building is mask optional. Please check with the people you're talking to about their comfort level, and please make sure the air filters are on when you congregate in any room. If you would like a large print order of service or hymnal, or an assisted listening device, please ask our ushers. Our assisted listening devices are actually small radios that work throughout the building if you'd like to listen to the service from another space for any reason. After the service, please join us for coffee and conversation in our fellowship hall, which is one level down at the other end of our building, or in a breakout room if you're joining us online. I'd like to draw your attention to the announcements in our order of service, as well as information about how to sign up for our email lists and newsletter. And now I would like to hand over to our auction committee for a very special announcement.
Is this working? Yes. Judy, are you planning to attend the auction on April 1st? It's going to be fun, and it's based on the game of Monopoly.
I don't know. Is it anything like Candy Crush?
Not really. You roll the dice and move your token around the board. You can have this Scotty token.
Okay. If I land on Mediterranean Avenue, what happens?
Some of the best eating in the world. You can bid on a classic or gluten-free Italian dinner, a Vietnamese and Cambodian feast, or a farm-to-table vegetarian dinner, and lots more.
How about Marvin Garden?
Marvin, if you buy this property, you can put a house on it, like the Bat House donated to the auction. And the Climate Task Force is donating a fabulous pollinator basket. Your yard will look great, and the bees and butterflies will love it.
So, Judy, what do you think?
Let's roll again.
You landed on a railroad. Let's see what happens.
Take the main Downeaster to classic Booth Bay Cottage or attend world-class theater at the Algonquin Playhouse. You can also take the Cape Cod Flyer for a weekend in beautiful Falmouth Heights. All you have to do is bid.
Wow, some great getaway choices to bid on.
Roll again. Another railroad. Check it out.
On auction night, the B&O Railroad dining car will be in the community room, offering savory snacks, soft drinks, and bar service.
From there, advance to Boardwalk, aka the Vestry, for more food and drink. Desserts will be served there during intermission as well. Sorry.
So, is it better than Candy Crush?
I'm almost convinced.
Roll again.
You've landed on Chance. Advance to Paradise. You can bid on a week in beautiful Maui, where you can enjoy swimming and snorkeling and see a rainbow every day. Go to jail. Go directly to jail. But do get your mugshot taken in Fellowship Hall.
Ready for the final roll? Roll again.
You won a second prize in a beauty contest. Collect $100. Well, maybe not happen, but you can win a nice cash prize in the auction raffle. There will also be 2 games during the live auction where you can win a fun prize.
Sounds great. Definitely want to go.
That's a taste of what the auction offers. Some great items will only be available at the live auction. Starting on March 26th, live auction items can be previewed online. And don't forget, from March 26th to April 5th, the online bidding is open. You can register on your own device or at coffee hour. We can help you. Once you get a bidder number, you can bid online and buy raffle tickets. Hope to see you at this fun community gathering on April 1st, our largest annual fundraiser.
I'll give it a roll.
Good morning. Some weeks it's like, wait, now we have opening words? We've been going. Wonderful job, choir. Thank you. And thank you, Trish, for jumping in on our piano for us. Our opening words, though, are by George Kimmich Beach. Everything begins on the verge of awareness. The dawn is not, and then is. Sleep is not, and then is. In between is the awakening. The passage of thin light between breaks open the day. The passage of thin sound between flows into the day. Too soon the numbing rumble of traffic swells, the day glares. Let the soft haze hang again across the row of morning. Wait upon the narrow moment, the first awareness of being in between. Live days and seasons on the thin edge of dawn in praise that every single thing begins now. We light this chalice as a symbol of the light of inspiration. May our hearts and minds grow and glow as we kindle and nurture this spark among us. Please rise in body and spirit and join in our opening hymn, number 330, The Arching Sky of Morning Grows. And please join in our covenant and different words of affirmation this week. Both are in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in truth, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. So today, we wanted to celebrate the beauty of art and how all of us are artists. And so Brad had this wonderful idea that a way to make this service participatory today was to ask you to share art right here, right now, in the service. So what we're going to do is ask you to take a picture representing your view of sanctuary or your view of worship right now. And so if you're off-site, that might be a picture of your screen, but it also might be a picture of the room around you or the outside out your window. If you're here in the sanctuary, it could be that your part of your view of worship, part of your view of sanctuary is looking out the windows beside you. If you're a little child and you sometimes climb under the pews a little bit, it could be looking down at the floor. It might be looking into your hymnal. It might be looking up here at the pulpit. It might be looking over at the piano or somewhere else. Our beautiful tapestries. So we want you to take a picture representing your view of worship. If you don't have a phone, you can borrow one maybe from the person beside you after they take theirs, or you can be the subject of someone's photo, and then upload it to the form that is in your order of service with the QR code, which is that QR code there. If you don't have a QR code reader, the URL for that form is tinyurl.com/FPCPIC. And if you had trouble with the form, there's also Brad's phone number you can text it to, or you can email it to. And amazingly, then what's going to happen is Brad's going to take these and put them in some sort of thing for us to see later in the service. And so these will all be shared in just a few minutes. Brad, anything else to say about that? That covers it? All right. Go ahead. What is art? What makes something art? And you can keep taking your photos and upload them while I talk. That's a question that is often asked in both artist and non-artist circles. And in non-artist circles, it's often the case that modern art, in particular, is looked at and people say, okay, what makes that art? I could do that. Or is that really art? It's a question you often hear from people who also might say, I don't understand art. They mean, why is something that is paint dripped all over a canvas on the floor, like Jackson Pollock does, art? And why is it art when Marcel Duchamp takes a urinal, turns it sideways, and signs his name to it? Explaining why modern art is a lot like, I think, explaining why Unitarian Universalism is a religion. To people with a certain definition, it never will be. If you define religion as a set of beliefs about God that people subscribe to and must believe for that group, we'll never meet that definition. If you define art as using highly developed skills, such as painting techniques, to accurately depict a given object or scene, particularly something beautiful or sublime, then Jackson Pollock and Marcel Duchamp will never be art. But to understand what they mean when they say, this is art, you need to understand the dialogue that they're having about what is art, what the purpose of art is, and what the role of the artist is. That's right, kids. In the sanctuary at church, I just put a picture of a urinal on the screen. What's a urinal? It's like a toilet. So just to understand what we mean when we say this non-creedal thing we belong to is a religion, you need to be part of the dialogue that liberal religion is having with its predecessor as well. So what is art from a modern artist's definition? Well, I think it starts arguably with Marcel Duchamp's The Fountain. He called this The Fountain in 1917. By taking something that nobody would have said was art, was the opposite of art, an industrial urinal, and calling it art, Duchamp is saying in the most extreme way, you don't get to decide what is art. I, the artist, decide what is art. Duchamp wasn't just doing this one act either. He was creating an entire art show because there were national gatekeepers of the National Academy of Design that decided what was art and what got shown in those days and wouldn't let certain things in. And so he was doing the opposite. From Duchamp forward, it's almost as if art great art, becomes that which the established societies try to say is not art. That's true of Impressionism. And so most of us now would say that Monet's water lilies are great art. But the Impressionists were doing something different with painting, not with great precision and strokes, but blurred images. They were trying to capture outdoors momentary, fleeting patterns of light. If you couldn't paint it quickly, you were lost because that moment would never come again. Because as you see, as photography gets introduced into the picture, you'd have the ability, like you all just did, to take a picture of reality exactly as it exists in that moment. And so the role of the artist changes from capturing the moment to capturing the essence, the symbolism, the emotion. Art becomes more and more abstract because it has to in order to address these things. And then you get about as far as you can get on this idea, and you get to Jackson Pollock. Jackson Pollock's wife once said he was working in the air, but knowing where it would land. Painting in the air. I think of Pollock as essentially doing performance art, where he was performing for no audience, and what we see is what's left after the performance. Is it art? Yes. Is it meant for you to look at and understand in a rational sort of way? No, I don't think so. You're not meant to look at it and think, but rather to look at it and feel. Looking at art where it's not directly representational can be confusing, but there's a way in which you're supposed to step out of your rational mind and feel and experience and understand on an emotional or intuitive level, or even a subconscious level, or even primordial level. To take a very different painter, but one who is equally incomprehensible as Pollock, and tie it back to religion, I invite you to consider Mark Rothko. Now, kids, you probably think you could paint something about as good as that, right? It's just a square with some stripes and blocks of other colors on it. Rothko was known for painting these big paintings that were big blocks of color on different colored backgrounds. And it seems simple, like something a child could paint, like something I could paint. And I'm not as good as a child at painting. But consider Rothko's purpose. He said, I realize that historically the function of painting large pictures is painting something very grandiose and pompous. The reason I paint them, however, is precisely because I want to be very intimate and human. For me, it's in seeing the Rothko Chapel in Houston that this began to make sense. The Rothko Chapel is a windowless interfaith chapel in a park in Houston. It's an octagonal building, and on each side there's a giant painting by Rothko, and they're all grayish black. You turn and walk and look from gray to gray to gray to gray. And at first, it means nothing. You're like, why is this famous, and how is this a chapel? What does this mean? But that's because you're thinking about it at first, and the chapel isn't for thinking, it's for feeling. And Umari, the chapel historian, said this: there's sort of a window to beyond. He said the bright colors sort of stop your vision at the canvas, where dark colors go beyond. And definitely, you're looking at the beyond. You're looking at the infinite. So in modern art, a lot of branches of art are created in order to engage in a particular part of our cultural conversation. Picasso's Guernica comes to mind immediately, a piece that's in Cubist style, but shows so vividly the horrors of the bombings of Guernica in the Spanish Civil War. Or take, for example, the Dada movement. According to the book Art That Changed the World, Dada, a movement without governing principles, appeared around 1915 as a revolt against the civilization that had engulfed the world in war. So if art makes no sense, that's exactly the point. Nothing, they're saying, nothing makes sense at all, particularly our society. Occasionally, there are questions that religion and art are asking that overlap, such as the response to war or the response to freedom. An example, I think, where our religion and the art world were asking the same questions is something we see in Judy Chicago's The Dinner Party. We have a reading from Judy Chicago in our hymnal that addresses in words some of the same things The Dinner Party is addressing in art. What she's doing with feminist art, we had people doing with feminist theology. She was inviting us to remember the goddesses and women that had been forgotten in history, some of whom, like Elizabeth Blackwell, that I highlighted here, are Unitarian. Also Mary Wollstonecraft, Susan B. Anthony, Emily Dickinson, and ancient goddesses. While Chicago does this quite literally with her art, bringing women to the table, we do it more figuratively in religion, bringing goddess language into our hymnal and into our classrooms with curriculum that we wrote in that era, such as Cakes for the Queen of Heaven or Rise Up and Call Her Name. Is the dinner table art? Is it art? Absolutely. Absolutely. Not based on whether or not it's beautiful, but based on how it's contributing to the dialogue of art. So we come back to that question. What makes that art? And the answer is that art is that which answers any question. And that art is that which the artist says is art. So what is art? What is creativity? What is self-expression? What is truth? What is beauty? What is religion? It's what we say it is. We're a religion because we say so, and we're in that great conversation about religious truths, the way these artists are in that great conversation about what is art, what is ultimate, what connects us, what is morality, what is our purpose, what is beauty, what is truth. This is what art has to say to our faith. It's teaching us not about the conversation, it's about how we ask the questions, how we explore the answers together. May we ever be asking these questions, both in our faith and in our art. Now that was the longest part of the service right there. The other parts of my sermon are shorter, much shorter. But this is the time in our service when we share our joys and sorrows. And I want to invite forward not Ann Sandler, but Ann Sadler, our lay minister, to share those that she's received one on paper and none online. And our ushers are going to help with microphones as we share our joys and sorrows first in this space. And then for folks who are online, we'll invite you to share. For all these sorrows that we hold in our hearts, the deaths, the diseases, the sudden changes in vocation or future paths, and for all the joys, moments of birthdays and other moments of delight, let's be grateful for the opportunity to hold each other in beloved community, to reach out to one another in loving support, and to be with one another in presence and spirit. Blessed be. Amen. Blessed be and amen. Our next hymn is number 326, Let All the Beauty We Have Known, which will be followed by a presentation from our Director of Religious Education, Marissa Evans.
So what's the value of making bad art? And what even is bad art anyway? Maybe it might be art that doesn't come out exactly how we planned it to look. And today we're going to try an exercise where what you create will most likely be pretty bad. It won't be what you think it's going to look like. We're going to do something that I remember doing in school, and maybe you have done it too, where in your order of service, you will find a blank piece of paper. And if you look in front of you where the hymnals are, there are writing implements, pens, pencils. If you can't find one, look in a seat near you or ask a neighbor to borrow. Or maybe a kid will have some crayons to share with you. So what we're going to do with this pen and paper is find a buddy beside you if you're comfortable with that, or you can use me as a model, and you're going to draw that person without looking at your paper. So you're going to put your pen on the paper and do your best to draw that person with all the details that you can, but don't look at what you're drawing. And my friend who's an art teacher suggested that you imagine as you draw that you're like a little ant crawling on the outline. And I said, why do we have to do an ant? Can we just leave the bugs out of it? And they said, no, it's so that you imagine that you're very small and you have to go very slowly and pay attention to the details of what you're seeing. So let's give that a try. Well, I guess I'll leave this. And remember, don't look at your paper. So my friend who's an art teacher said that when we do this, we're making the lines that our body wants to make, just naturally or intrinsically. And that can be valuable information to see. And you can also turn this kind of line work into abstract art. And we talked, because my friend is an art teacher, we talked about what is the value of creating bad art. And they said that, you have to make a lot of bad art in order to make good art. And the more art you make, some of it good, some of it bad, you learn, and it's a different way to pay attention, and it gives you perspective. And it might make you laugh. I'm seeing some people laugh at what they've created. You can find a lot of joy in making art, just the joy in the creative process. So again, what makes art good or bad is subjective, but it can be very helpful to let go of our expectations that what we're going to be creating is going to be good, and just see what we can play around with.
Okay, folks. Our next activity is Art Parade, and this is an activity for you to show your art, and this can be art you brought along with you or art that you just created, and you're not required to, but if you're willing to show your art, we invite you to come forward, and Ben's going to train the camera right up here, so when you get to the front, hold up whatever it is, or if it's something you're wearing, point to it, and then just move on out. And I'm going to call on different sections of the sanctuary to show and parade their art for us, beginning with you folks over here. Come and show us some art. Something you have with you. I know some of you have some art. I'll show you up in the...
Totally ridiculous. Yes, it is.
Okay, come on up. Yeah, show your art. Ooh. Yeah, what great artists. Nice. Nope, go ahead. Just come on up, show it, and you can head back down. Yeah. Good job, kids. Anyone in this section want to show some art? It's just fun because I get to see the side they're not showing you. Yeah, just keep on parading on by. Nice work. Balcony folks, I invite you to come down at any point you feel comfortable and join in. Section over here. On the wall section. And folks online, you'll have your moment in just a moment too. Oh, nice. Thank you. Yeah. Whoa, movement is art. Thank you, Lindsay. Ah. All right, this section. Oh, you brought some art with you. Oh, wow. All right, show them, show them. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, nice. As I'm going to be talking about in just a few moments, we are all artists here at FPC, and we have some of the artists who've chosen to display their works for you to see down in the community room and fellowship hall and hallway after the service, and I hope you go down there too, but share your art as well. Here's mine. I drew two. Can you guess who it is? That's Michael. Let's see. And this one, this is you, Troy. Right. Our church and all of our wonderful, fabulous activities and artistic adventures is supported by the voluntary generosity of our members who join with us in pledging and who join with us in voluntary contributions when they're here on Sunday and give from their hearts. We're grateful to be able to, in this church, donate half of our plate every week to different social justice organizations that we wish to support. This month, our plate sharing goes to the Southeast India Project, which is a project of our own church. More about it is in your newsletter and I think in your order of service. Please give as generously as you can, and we are grateful for your participation. I got so excited that I jumped right to the anthem without showing you, letting the offsite folks show their art. So we're going to do that now. Offsite people, do you have art you'd like to share? And Ben, if you could spotlight them as they share. Ooh. Anyone else off-site want to share yours? Hold it up and we'll just find you and spotlight you. Okay, thanks folks. And now, oh, another one. Oh, yeah, Helen. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. Thank you, Helen. She's telling us something, but we've got her on mute. Gorgeous, gorgeous artists, all of you. Thank you so much. And you're all artists today, and amazingly, our artist, Brad Dumont, has taken your slides, your pictures, and put them into some sort of slideshow or video, which Ben is going to share with you now. This is your view of sanctuary and of worship. Okay, we've got a minute. While he's pulling that up, do you know this song? Make us aware we are a sanctuary. Da, 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 da. Anyone else know the words? And brand new with thanksgiving. We are a living sanctuary anew. Make us aware we are a sanctuary. Oh my goodness. Each made whole, shot right through with thanksgiving. We are a living sanctuary. Oh, I love those images. Images outside and inside and other places and here. And I'll never look at that circle above the chandelier the same way again. And the Willard clock, the one thing in this room that survived the fire of our last building, is that clock right there. There's a few other things that survived, but not in this room, I think. Different angles on the organ. Oh, I love, that must have come from the balcony, that view where it shoots through the chandelier to the organ. How gorgeous. As we hold these images in our hearts and in our minds and in the whole of our bodies, let's not divide it into parts, right? I want you to leave today with the impression that we are all artists, that you are an artist, that our faith is a faith full of art, with beauty and also with the struggle, Some art is about justice, some art is about pain and sorrow, and some art is about beauty and love. And for all these emotions that we come together to hold in our Faith as Beloved community, they are also held by our art as we express them through our hands and our bodies in different ways. Whether you consider your art bad art, or whether you consider your art good art, you are an amazing artist, and your art has soul, and it has personality, and it is embedded with all that is the inherent worth and dignity of you. So, let us go today enjoying our art and making art that is bountiful and showing it again and again in community. Thank you all. Our closing hymn today is number 305, De Coloris. Now, let me check this out, because I think it's got verses in both English and Spanish. You like to sing the Spanish verse, don't you? Yes, me too. So we're going to do that. We're going to sing verse 1 through 3 in English and then verse 1 again in Spanish. Please rise in body or in spirit. Let us go in peace and love and beauty and art, sharing our artistic souls with the world until we come back together again. Blessed be. Amen. Please join in our closing song.